Good day and good evening and welcome back to Dailies Hangout stream with me, Chaiji, but you can just call me Kai. Tonight, as usual, we'll be doing the various roulettes. And we will skip MSQ roulette and guild tests and mentor roulette and frontline. As usual. The reason why we don't do some of them is simply because they're boring. And it would be weird if I had done like mentor roulette, you know, off script, as it were. So we're not doing that. Wouldn't that be strange? Just every week of the mentor roulette series, there's just like an unexplained extra mentor roulette done that I don't even comment on. It's just, I feel like he miscounted, but so, we're skipping that one. Now, with that said, hey Ceres, hey Zaf, hey Talma, hey Rust, hey Lana, hey Jen Monica, hey Mistel, hey Ilya, hey Milo, hey Nox, hey Toby, hey Vic, hey Fila, hey Christopher. Hope you're all doing very well. And hey Elipella, hope you're doing well. I'm glad to have you. You're welcome to ask questions. I try my best to answer when people have like a question, whether it's whatever it is, if I can answer. Also, hey Dan and Chocolate and Aradel and Bobomet. Hope you're all doing very well. But yeah, as I said, we're going down the list, but we're skipping MSQ roulette. It's kind of boring. We're skipping guild tests. For obvious reasons. We're skipping mentor roulette and we're skipping frontline. And if we're finished early enough, then we will probably do Sand Oreo as well. Or we will try to. What's the gross average income in Brazil? I don't know. Thank you, Fila. Well, I said I would answer. I didn't say I would know the answer. The important distinction. Now, the way that it works when I'm setting up for these roulettes is that, you know, if you've seen the mentor roulettes, you usually see that I announce a time and then I queue so you can queue into me. But because these roulettes can be done in a group, I will usually do, what I will do is that I'll go somewhere in my garden here and announce that I'm going to do something. And if you want to join me, you just walk over to me. And I'll try my best to grab people that I haven't grabbed before, so that, you know, you don't just show up here and then I just bring anyone but you. Because of whether it's like I just don't, or oh, other people are faster every time. So like, yeah, to cycle a little bit. It basically means that if you're here and you want to participate, you should be able to come along, even if you're like, oh, the other people react faster than me. That's fine. I'll get to you. But that is essentially the plan. Say Ham. And Guzzle, hope you're doing well. On that note, if you would like to join me for Expert Roulette, come on over to me. The teleport. If you do roulettes as a group, are you limited to only duties everyone has unlocked? Yes. Exactly. Chocolate says, where is this lovely garden exactly? It is my house, of course. It just Hey Gabriel and Naomi, hope you're doing well. The pressure of different rating standards is scary. I don't know how many things are different, but I've been told myself, Gabriel, that in recent years the differences have like the big differences mainly boil down to sometimes EU prefers a different strategy than NA, but for the most part a lot of people go for like will just like link a rate plan. So it might be fine. Wham, wham, wham. As you know, no meso terminal.
There are beasts ahead of you. They must have gotten in and made themselves at home. Nearby that leads inside. Look for an opening.
Hey Mizu and Asymmetricon, hope you're doing well. And Kiwi Crusher, hope you're doing well as well. I forgot to double switch. Oh well. Hey Sleepy Blood, hope you're doing well. You see more meso high than meso terminal.
I'm detecting something big. You'll have to deal with it to continue on.
Hey Nox, did you forget to partner me? No? It was amazing. Hey Kari, and Anza, and Sally, hope you're doing well. And thank you so much, Ellie Pela. Thank you so much, that's very kind.
access hatch and head inside.
But that is true. That there are the bad stories of some mentors. Hey Yannick, hope you're doing well. Be careful with that, Yannick. Scholar growth is a serious issue. That's the... that's a very unfortunate timing on the buff window.
Even during the war, the people labored to maintain the castle. It meant a lot to them. It's upsetting to think that preservation's terminal is in this place.
Hold on. Someone's jumped communications. Step alert.
Blech. No.
So, you have come. Let us measure your strength.
Any Bella says, do you also do PvP content? You do narration would be kind of awesome for it. I have done, like, some of my first streams were actually PvP. And I actually have, like, a starter guide for getting into crystalline conflict and things like that. But I don't really do PvP very much because I simply don't invest enough time in PvP to actually be able to give very good advice for it, or... and I'm also just not invested enough in it. I usually refer to other channels for that one. I don't know how much it does now, but I've usually referred to, I think it's called Salamander TV, for some PvP content. Depending on what kind of PvP content you're interested in, John is Dead on Twitch does a lot of shoutcasting tournaments and such for Crystalline Conflict. And I have participated in one of those, which also really emphasized how much I don't know.
That was hardly a challenge, I see. You will show me more. I bid you
Show
press on.
me more! Milo in the chat going limit break, and I'm like, I'm glancing at the limit break gauge like, it's not ready. I wish I could, but we're too strong. We're too powerful.
untroubled thus far, but I have something that may test you yet.
It's a rock.
This machine has long guarded these crumbling halls.
But yeah, in the past, I did a lot of PvP streams because when I started streaming Final Fantasy XIV, it's actually pretty funny that it would come up in a stream like this one. I started by going, well, just doing like regular content in Final Fantasy XIV, like, I don't know, like roulettes. That sounds pretty boring for a stream, doesn't it? Who would watch that? So instead I thought, oh, how about we do like ranked crystalline conflict? That sounds pretty interesting. And I did that until I had a stream where genuinely I sat in queue for 30 plus minutes and nothing happened. And I came to the conclusion that it was better to do something than nothing. And then we just did frontline for the rest of the stream. And then the next stream I just did frontline instead.
Let us see what this is.
And it has then, you know, since developed into doing various other stuff such as this. Also, thank you, Erdil.
Perhaps a new approach to assess your adaptability.
Sleepy Vlad, if you go to the balance Discord, the dancer section has a list of priorities for how to pick your dance partner. But in casual content, which is almost certainly what your friend really needs, it's a lot better to just go.
It would save me trouble later. If there is a melee DPS and they seem to know what they're doing, just go for them. Like if there's multiple melee DPS, default to the one with the most HP. Or if there's like a mage of some sort, like for instance a black mage that seems to be decent, then go for them. The more selfish a job is as a DPS, the better. But ultimately, in casual content, you can never be sure. The best you can do is like just put it on a DPS. Because the thing is, you could go land in a group, and you have like, I don't know, a samurai. That's usually a really good target for dance partner, especially at high level. And they have the most HP, and if you check their gear, they have the best gear. But then they just have no idea how to play the job very well. So it's actually better to put your dance partner on, I don't know, the bard. Which should be extremely unlikely. But sometimes that's just how it goes. If you figure out that there's a problem there, then once the fight has been ongoing for a bit, often just putting it on whichever DPS has the most enmity. Which is, you know, this bar under your icon when you're in combat, or if it's a single target fight, it can be a good way to do it. Because while it is not exact, it is a pretty good indication of who's doing the most damage. I'll say Grim Raven, and Sylvia, hope you're doing well. And hey Meowsva, hope you're doing well as well. Yeah, basically, Elipela, the reason why I gradually moved away from PvP streams was Crystalline Conflict didn't pop. Frontline did, but then I started trying other things. Also that, Erdel, you could also just just make a clip from this stream and just cut exactly what I said and send to your friend. That's also an option.
There should be a clipping feature on your screen somewhere. But as I then expanded to streaming other things in the game, I started to notice that when I was streaming Frontline, very few people showed up. When I did other stuff, significantly more people showed up. And for me, it's like, I would of course stream something that I feel like doing, and I'll do that. You will, if you go back through the live stream archives on the YouTube channel, you will find that around like December, January or so, I did a weekly Palace of the Dead solo stream, and suddenly, gone. And it wasn't because I succeeded. It's just that I got so fed up with it that I didn't feel like it anymore. And I feel like it is well, I could stream something that a lot of people want to see. It's kind of pointless if I'm not having fun, because I get the experience, the impression that a lot of people watch the stream because they'd like to watch someone having fun. Hey Remy, hope you're doing well. And so if I lose interest in doing something, I'm not having fun with it anymore, then I will probably not stream that. And at present, my relationship with Frontline is that I need to do one more, not for me, but I had a deal with Zip, one of my mods, that we would finish it together, and somehow we got misaligned a little bit. So he's one match behind me, and the moment we're done with that, we're probably not doing Frontline until the next series. Thank you, Sleepy Vlad. Scandalous. I wanted to check the pants. And also, he knows the real done Bakaj. Hope you're doing well. I only do Frontline when in a food coma. Are you, though, like those players we sometimes see that have done nothing in the entire match? Just queue into Frontline, into the match, and just... Hey Tran, hope you're doing well. Speaking of doing well, we should probably continue the roulette. So if you would like to join me for level cap, which is the other level 100 dungeons, come over to me. Just for those that haven't been here before, I have like a list. So I'm like writing down the names of... Are we going quad tank? Are we doing that? We could do that. Also, it's 4 different tanks. So who's the main tank? The strongest.
I bid farewell.
Have you heard? Princess Fiend is here.
Aaron, hope you're doing well. Hope you have the Phoenix Downs on hand. I do. But I have a feeling we'll be fine. I don't know what I base that on.
Your smile means all is right with the world.
If I smile, it is because you all smile.
Elipella
for
says, have
me.
you seen that crazy one who's running all DPS dungeons without resers? Isn't that Gordian or something like that? Does that name sound correct? He regularly advertises his parties in my Discord, Elibella, and has sometimes been given like asked for input from me among others when trying to do duties. So yeah, you could say I kind of know him. I guess this is also a funny moment to be like, hey, did you know that Warrior can solo all of the level 100 dungeons synced? Who will get tank marker? Oh, that is an interesting question. I'll come over to you guys. Hey, what you doing? Having fun? Hey. I wonder if I got it because I had the most enmity right at the moment where he cast it. Yoink. Oh boy. It does look like it just puts the tank bust on whoever's at the top of enmity at that very moment. Oh, thanks. What am I to do with this primal
You
rend
are
now?
my people, and I will protect you.
Run! Run!
The pain painful memories of war.
I have an attack with an expiration date. Take this! My blade! All the tanks just running through. We have cooldowns! Hey Matthew, hope you're doing well. Is warrior your favorite one of the four? I prefer paladin and warrior a little bit, like back and forth. But in this particular instance, I saw that when I put the party together, that we had the 3 other tanks, and then for the memes, I switched to tank 2. But because I could already see that we had 3 different tanks, I chose the one tank we didn't have, and that's how I ended up playing warrior for this. But I do kind of prefer warrior and paladin. There's also, hey Akinonome, hope you're doing well. The limit break. That limit break was crucial, yeah. What would we have done without it? Was a Regal Star? Hope you're doing well. In a cast, hope you're doing well as well. I feel like I remember that I've had like 13-minute clears of Alexandria, so...
Security breach confirmed. Initiating level 5 security protocol.
But yeah, it's definitely not the slowest run, that's for certain. Hey, humble student, hope you're doing well. That's a fair point, Remy, and I could imagine that this will still be faster than some Alexandria runs. And the frequency at which I do dailies with friends also means that I might have a very skewed perspective on what I consider a normal amount of time in a leveling roulette, in a roulette duty in general. I think I pointed that out in my mentor roulette videos before, that I'll be like, this feels like it's going a little bit slow, and it's like, look, it took 14 minutes to do Uewata. That's not slow. Not really. Oh no. Oh no. My uptime. As it turns out, having all these AoEs can be a problem when only one of the tanks is kind of the AoE main. Or rather, the ranged man, I should say. AoE has nothing to do with it. I don't think I've seen that mechanic in... I don't know if I've ever seen it, actually, come to think of it. That's really weird.
And at the last,
What? Spreading circles?
endless.
I might have also seen it, and it just haven't even registered because something else was going so wrong. Hey Travis, hope you're doing well.
They've done it! They've prepared the Queen's...
I mean, this stream in particular isn't like surprise memes, but it's funny when it dumps right in your lap. Then might as well make the memes, right? And by dumping into my lap, I mean, as I said, I grab 3 people, and they're each a different tank. Uh-oh. Save the Dark Knight! I'll be over here then. Hey Jacob, hope you're doing well. Multiple armaments. And by armaments, I mean laser hand and laser sword. 2 whole armaments. I mean, that technically qualifies as multiple. Well, our barriers are still holding.
Commencing final attack sequence. Attempting annihilation via high-powered energy discharge.
I remember when I went to solo this one synced, this mechanic was the one that I was afraid of. Because back in Endwalker, Lapis Manalis had a similar mechanic that is very awkward to deal with. And I didn't beat it, but We have gamers in the chat that did. Or gamer in the chat, I think. But it took many, many tries. Meanwhile, because the gauge generation on this boss is gradually reduced as you delete the generators, it is very beatable by a lone warrior.
Attempting total annihilation. Annihilation. Annihilation.
Man, a whole 20% is still left of the fight. Disruption. Oh boy, a raid wide.
Foreign entities remain. Resuming annihilation.
I feel thoroughly disrupted by that. How could you? It's almost like a boxer telling their opponent, attempting left hook. You know, that is an interesting point. I don't... it is pretty funny how in media, like games, movies and whatnot, a lot of the time we represent like robots and such as if they're like programmed to always announce what they're doing. Which is really funny, because the only reason they would do that is if the writer of the robot's programming decided to have them do that, which does make sense in a like troubleshooting context. And there's definitely situations where you would probably want to have it. Like if it's like some sort of service robot, it might be nice for them to go getting tea or whatever, so you know that they're doing the thing that you wanted them to do. But it might not make super great sense to have a like a war machine go firing artillery cannons loudly across the battlefield so the opponent can hear it. It's not very smart. Someone left the verbose output on in debug and routed it to voice synthesis. Say, Arcane, hope you're doing well. The dev didn't remove the console log statements every few lines. But it is a funny thing, because obviously that's not how we would make a robot. But it is like a shorthand. It's like some sort of stereotyping. Like, you immediately recognize it. Oh, it's a robot! That's why when they act like that. It turns out it was meant to prevent friendly fire, but was later determined to be more effective alone anyway. Oh no, that's the war machine. We should probably get out of here. Why is that? Well, the creators determined that the avoid friendly fire is not an optimal setting. So not a good idea to be here. Zav, your sound card drivers, just no. Right, if you would like to join me for high-level dungeons, come on over to me. I saw Agent Monaco was like a moment late on the last one. I'm not, as I always end up saying, I'm not trying to pick around anyone. So see LeChaw's here. LeChaw. You should enable this so I don't forget later. Hope you're doing well, LeChaw. It's the sloppy dungeon. Really funny detail about this dungeon is that when they changed Venomous Bite and Wind Bite to be 45 seconds, the mobs in this dungeon also got that change. I'm doing pretty well myself, humble student, thank you. And hey, cat. Yeah, did you know Warrior can solo Baelza's Wall synced? It's really rough though. It's really rough. I wonder if they also got the same, like, potency adjustment, because I'm pretty sure the dots are a little weaker, relatively speaking. Also true, Ham. Very true. The reason why this dungeon is soloable at all is because the final boss will only perma-crowd control someone if there's at least 2 players. Like, just randomly, he's like, nah, it's fine. If it wasn't for that, you would need at least 2. But even so, it is worth pointing out that the second boss is insane to solo. An army of very small enemies. How will we ever survive? Beware ankle biters. Okay, bye. Come at me! The funny thing about that, Sleepy Vlad, is that it's just like another one for the list. It's a topic where some players really want the way they like to do things to be the right way to do things. Where the reality is that whether you pull all the way up to the wall or something else, what's best depends on the dungeon. And the arguments that are usually used to justify always pulling up to the wall don't really work as well as they sound. And there's like a lot of other things that play in too that is usually ignored. But there are like good justifications for pulling all the way to the wall. It's just that most of the time that's not the arguments that are used. It's just it usually comes down to like it feels like it often boils down to like an insult slinging fight, which then makes it really difficult to get anything done. Hey Zip Zap, hope you're doing well. Oops, I should not have done that. But yeah, a good example, as Regal Star mentioned, is if you don't know the dungeon, just running until you meet a wall is actually a pretty safe strategy. But if you do know the dungeon, a lot of the time it's better to just stop where the last pack is, because the sooner you stop, the sooner everyone can do maximum damage. Reminder that this mechanic is the dice countdown. You have to stop acting when the countdown ends. But this one is an archaic version that is more janky. Somehow it's an archaic version that is more janky, considering that this dude is younger than Ozma, which has the dice version. So I recommend stopping your actions on 2 to 3 seconds if you don't want to die. Say Scootaloos, hope you're doing well. Ozma's fight has the thing where like there's a dice countdown over your head. Based on an interview about that specific encounter, originally the fight didn't have this, but the playtesters were often confused as to why they got hit, because it didn't have any proper indicator. So they added the dice countdown. Exactly, acceleration bomb. I had lost the name. And also true, the weird thing with dynamic sensory jammer looking like there's like an open side really can feel very misleading. Feels like it's something else that you're looking for. Oh, look, treasure. Oh, look, treasure. Yoink. The great comedy here is me looting all the chests and then passing on everything. You guys have this. But we have, someone has to have it. For El Amigo! I have you now. Sloppy. And also, the well-known quote.
How do you like this?
Are you like this? I don't. It looks. Hope you're doing well. Yeah. Sloppy.
I'll tear you limb from limb. Yeah. Sloppy.
Yeah. Yeah. Sloppy.
For El Amigo!
He's a very sloppy man.
I have you.
Hey Fem, hope you're doing well.
Yeah. How'd you like this?
I don't.
Yeah!
Yeah! My favorite bit in this fight is that if he gets to use Sanguine Blade one more time, he will do like a fake out where he jumps and then jumps again. I wish they did that more. It's such a small thing, but it really, like, it adds a surprising amount.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that. He just barely didn't get to do it. Yeah. But they could definitely have more fights where they do that. Like, see, the thing is, it doesn't really do anything, but it's a surprising amount of personality, and for some players, that, fake out, then he just, like, jumps and then jumps again, can actually be problematic. Like, for a tank, if you have 2 gap closer charges, which is only an option for Dark Knight and Gunbreaker in this level range, I believe, then you can just dash and go, oh, whoops, and then just dash again. But for a lot of other jobs, you might, like, use your only mobility option to get over to the first one, and then he moves just enough that it's actually a problem. Like a small problem. But I think it's just a really interesting little detail, and it's a shame they don't use tricks like that very much. Let me see. Right. I will be right back, and then we will continue. In the meantime, sanity restored. Alright, I'm back. An interesting thing about the gap closers is that I'm pretty sure that Dark Knight, like, came into existence with Plunge, like its original gap closer, in Heaven's Ward. Then in Stormblood, they gave Warrior Onslaught. The key difference between these two is that Plunge had a cooldown, and Onslaught had a very short cooldown, but a resource cost. Which meant that Plunge you could basically use on cooldown for damage, while Onslaught was a little more complicated. But in Stormblood they also gave you Inner Release, and Inner Release at the time just made it so that all Beast Gauge costs were removed, and also everything auto-direct critted for 10 seconds. Which meant that your auto attacks did as well. And Onslaught did, and Upheaval, which also had a cost, by the way, did too. Like, everything did. And if you had the exact correct amount of skill speed, you could sneak in, I think, 5 Fell Cleaves during it. With a 90-second cooldown, if I remember correctly. Then in Shadowbringers, Gunbreaker came into existence with Rough Divide, which was basically Plunge. And Paladin was given Intervene as their version. And the thing is, Gunbreakers got their gap closer in like the 50s range. So like it basically meant that in a level 50 duty, I believe Dark Knight, in a level 50 duty, none of the tanks would have a gap closer, as it turns out. In a level 60 duty, Dark Knight and Gunbreaker would have theirs. In a level 70 duty, Warrior would have theirs. And then in a level 80 duty, Paladin would have theirs. Like, they've shuffled some levels around a little bit to make things a little nicer. I believe Dark Knight also has gotten their Dark Missionary earlier than they used to, for a similar reason. But basically that... in certain level ranges, it's a little bit awkward when one tank in particular doesn't have a thing, while the others do. That's basically what it boils down to. It's kind of silly. And it kind of comes down to something that I've mentioned before, that if every single job in a role can do something, then of course it isn't very special. But if everyone can do everything, then it feels kind of whatever, right? Redmaster says, when does each tank get their invuln? Warrior uniquely gets theirs at, I think it's level 42. Let me check. 42. The other 3 gets theirs at level 50. Exactly. The key reason why Holmgang is learned earlier is a history lesson. Originally, Holmgang wasn't an invuln. That thing where it snares a target was its original effect. But it was changed very fast. Like, long story short is that... let me put it like this, Vic. In 2.0, like 2.0 flat, when the game released, let's just say that the Warrior designer and the Paladin designer had seemed to have not talked very much. Because Paladin had, like, a lot of defensive cooldowns. Like, a lot of options. Meanwhile, Warrior didn't. Like, arguably, Warrior tanked by virtue of like, they had like one of those like name tags, and it just says, "Hi, I'm a tank," and then they had slightly more defense than others. That's pretty much it. They had some healing, but Vengeance, well, Vengeance didn't reduce damage taken, and Holmgang was not an invuln. So it was so bad that there was a very short time frame where a Marauder was considered a better tank than Warrior, because specifically in 2.0 the cross-class feature existed, which meant that you could pick 5 actions from relevant classes and just use them too. But when you were a job, which classes you could pick from were more limited, because you could only pick like very appropriate ones. Like for instance, warrior could pick some actions from gladiator. Like for instance, I think it was gladiator that had provoke. Yes, really. And you then could pick a few. I believe classes could pick 10. And they were not limited very much. It was basically like if you were a disciple of war, then you couldn't pick a disciple of magic action. Something like that. Like some reasonable exceptions. But it meant that Marauder could more easily grab whatever defensive cooldown Pugilist had, and whatever defensive cooldown Lancer had, and whatever defensive cooldown Gladiator had, which meant that they had more defensive cooldowns than Warrior. Also, hey Rax, hope you're doing well. It says, in the level 20s, I remember denying a warrior in Heavensward to do... I'm a little confused in the level 20s. Jose Raging Bull. Evis, hope you're doing well as well. Oh, like that. Right, that's true. But yeah, exactly. To like finish a little bit up on this history. Actually, I have a video on some of these history lesson things, but an interesting thing about cross-class actions is that at a glance, like when you're looking at it from an outsider looking in, it looks like an amazingly good idea because it means that you have access to all these actions across class. It gives a huge amount of customization. Hypothetically. The reality of the situation is that most jobs had like the fated 5. These are the ones you need. And if you don't have them, then you are basically playing a flawed job. And it could mean that, oh yeah, I know you want to play that job at level 50. However, unfortunately, you also have to level this other job to level 45 because a crucial cross-class action is unlocked at that level. Thank you, Aradil. Yeah, that's the one. So basically, it didn't add that much beyond tedium, you could say, for a lot of players. And the potential in it kind of fell a little bit flat. The thing that is a little bit funny about it is that obviously there's the classic of, yeah, but you don't have to be optimal, and there's definitely like, outside of coordinated groups, there was definitely situations where it would be nice to have these tools, like before Shadowbringers, where all jobs had a little bit more control over enmity. It might have been like that Guardian whole like trying to beat bosses with all DPS. While the like balancing might say give a different story, enmity management would probably be a lot easier back then among DPS, because DPS would have enmity management options. And you would have ways to like influence how much enmity you're generating. And some jobs could reduce their like the actual enmity they had in the moment. So you would be able to control this flow of combat without a tank. So like there are things where it's a little bit of a shame, and cross-class actions did this as well, because it could mean that a DPS could have access to some action that under normal circumstances would be completely pointless, because it's like a tank-specific action. But in a situation where doing like a non-standard composition for some weird stuff, it would have been really fun, probably. But in practice, what it generally meant is that you had to level several jobs just to play the one you wanted to play. Which is maybe not optimal. So it's one of those things where it's like, it's pretty cool in concept, but it's probably for the best that we don't have it anymore. Anyway, if you would like to join me for leveling dungeons, come on over to me. Also true, Red Master, but a really clear issue that you'd sometimes run into is that some actions, like some cross-class actions, felt like they were mandatory. Like as Asymmetricon mentioned, most DPS jobs could choose Raging Strikes. Now, I just want to remind you that Raging Strikes is the straight damage cooldown that Archer has. So, and you learn it very early. So, like, that's not a problem. The problem here was more that, like, that means that you only have 4 free slots. And then there's, like, other things that, like, well, you need this and this and this and this. And then there isn't much customization. On the one hand, yeah, you don't have to be optimal. You don't have to be perfect. On the other hand, you run into the situation where it's not even about that. It's just that in a world where cross-class actions are meaningful, you need a more varied selection of actions to be necessary, if that makes sense. Like, it would be a lot easier to make people need to, like, choose some variety if dungeons or raids required a lot more different things of a party. And then you'd be like, oh, well, I need this action for this dungeon, or I need that action for that dungeon. But due to the, like, the, you know, the random group-making nature of this kind of content, if you needed, emphasis on needed specific actions for this kind of content, you might run into situations where it's like you land in that dungeon randomly, but you don't have that option. Like, you just don't have it. And, of course, there's the whole, well, you could just get it. But just speaking somewhat from experience, if a duty doesn't require you to have something, then you don't need to have that something. Which means that the only way to make these kinds of actions, like, feel really needed is by requiring them. Which then runs into their own problems. And then, like, of course I know that might also be a bit of an exaggeration of, like, giving you options and then being like, well, you have to make sure that the players need them, otherwise what's the point? But that is basically what, like, came up at the end of the day. Is that a lot of the time, the options didn't matter because you just pick the ones that make you do big damage. Say Nuito? Hope you're doing well. And yeah, exactly. Like the cross-class system does indeed seem associated with that, Nuto, and that's also something that I think is really cool about other Final Fantasy games where they do that. That they include the like where you have to like combine 2 jobs and a bit somewhat, but with each job feeling somewhat complete in a way. it often means, or it can mean, and I know I'm exaggerating a little bit here. It can end up feeling like you don't need anything, so what would you pick? Things that make damage number. And yeah, precisely. If you don't need it, then you'll pick the thing that make damage number. Which we already see in some more optimizing, like, raid groups. It's not everyone. But if you don't need some specific feature that one job has, but it has that feature and instead does, like, a little bit less damage than a job that doesn't have that feature, then why bring it? Which, of course, is, again, a little bit of an exaggeration. And it is very specific parties that do this, not all of them. Like, it's one of those where, like, we see it happen, and we talk about it happening, but the frequency at which these things happen is less than it might sound like. Hey Shy, hope you're doing well. Imagine having Holy and White or something. Wouldn't that be crazy? Hey Chaiji, hope you're doing well. And yeah, exactly. It's pretty much that it ultimately boils down to. Is that, like, on the one hand, we can do that whole thing with saying players will optimize the fun out of games, but an alternative look on it is that from a developer's point of view, what it basically forces you to do is consider that that's going to happen, and then try to make sure that the way you want players to play is optimal by design, which is very easy to say and very hard to do. And also, as Regal Star said, a lot of the time, players are more willing to deliberately play less optimal for the memes in a single-player game. Me sitting here pressing the wrong button, not paying attention. See, Regal Star, Paladin used to also have out-of-combat res as a cross-class action option. The reason why is because specifically the res from Conjurer had a trait that only Conjurer learned that said that they could use it in combat. And the reason why Scholar's race didn't say that is because, well, the Arcanist Scholar Summoner race was just not available as a cross-class action, so they didn't need to. Regal Star says problems with the pillars. It's not a perfect tip, but for some reason, if you look at the shadows on the pillars when they land, the shadow actually points in the direction that the specific pillar will tilt in. It's not super easy to see exactly, but it is a hint. It's not a super great one, but it's a hint. Yannick says, give a rest to Dark Knight and Machinist, make it cost something. Because it needs to have a downside? Why do they need to have a downside? I guess we need to have a conversation with Red Mage. Or maybe, I guess your point is, yeah, also Red Mage too. Make that one cost mana. Healers have a long cast, Red Mage has it on the GCD. You could just have the defibrillator be on the GCD. Or was the intention that that would make it distinctly different? Hey Tenji, hope you're doing well, and thank you so much for the super chat. Hey Caitlin, hope you're doing well. It has been a while. Oink, oink. One of the really random thought, but one of the strangest things to me when I initially picked up Pictomancer at the launch of Dawntrail was the fact that the hammer combo wasn't melee. Hey Jack, hope you're doing well. Oh yeah, I agree, Yannick. I was specifically thinking, why does Machinist need to have a downside beyond? Like, I basically assumed that there was going to be a GCD cost to it. So I was thinking, like, why does it have to have both a battery cost and also a GCD cost? But I will also say, me personally, that it does feel like non-healers having access to combat res at all feels really hard to balance. Also, hey Peggy, hope you're doing well. And it's also been a while with you, yeah. Returning people. Oh right, there was a mechanic that I should look for. Sorry about that. Sorry, Ceres. The real reason why people randomly don't do mechanics when you're doing duties, they're just saying hi to people on their stream. Bruh. I got legacy controlled. Thank you. My legacy control. I need to use standard controls when I'm playing Pictomans. It happens so much. Redmaster says, I'm still not sure I can reliably trust that people will have a Phoenix down in dungeons. You know, I get that one. Because I can absolutely see how, like, it's such a simple thing. All you have to do is go to a shop and buy a few. Just have some. But a lot of people just forget to. And even when they have some, they just forget to use them. And sometimes there will probably also be individuals that are like, I don't want to lug around this item for an emergency that will never happen, which is it's a bit like going, oh, I'm going out tonight, and you like see like the clouds forming, like dark gray clouds, like, and you're like, family member or someone going like, are you sure you shouldn't have like a raincoat or something? Like, nah, that, like, I don't want to have that in case, don't need it. Absolutely pointless. Why would I do that? That's a waste of energy. Smash cut to them being completely drenched. Say lollipop pizza. Hope you're doing well. Just to clarify, because the thing is, some players missed this one. Like, if you're recently returning to the game, you might have missed this one completely. Before 7.3, I believe, Phoenix Downs, which is this, were unique, so you could only carry one. And if you wanted to carry multiple, you had to like hand one off to your chocobo, hand one off to your retainers, one each, and then hold one. And if you already had one on you when like one dropped in like a deep dungeon or something, then it would just go, can't have two. And then you just didn't get it. And the only thing it could be used for was it had its cast time, I believe. It had a cast time, I think. And it could only be used when not in combat. Which meant that the only time it mattered was essentially in a deep dungeon. In pretty much all other cases, the person could just like spawn at the entrance. And that would actually be more effective because it wouldn't give them the weakness debuff. And it would also reset their cooldowns. Or if it was like open world, you could just switch to a job that can res. So it was basically completely pointless in nearly all situations, with the exception of like deep dungeons, pretty much. And then in 7.3, they made them not unique, easily purchasable from a vendor for 1,000 gil each. Gave them a more specific cooldown, and made them usable in combat, asterisk, only in select duties, where select duties means basically all 4-man content. Which essentially means that if you do 4-man content, a casual 4-man content, I suppose, is the more accurate answer, then having like 10 of them on your person is a pretty solid move. It's not that you're gonna need 10. It's more so that you might, like in a really bad dungeon experience, you might be able to use like 4 of them. And having a bunch is just an easier way to not suddenly find yourself completely out of Phoenix Downs. And you can just, just resupply up to 10. I don't know why I have 15. I think I bought 10, and then I've looted some from Pilgrim's Traverse. Jose Brandom, hope you're doing well. Tenji says, what is a deep dungeon? A deep dungeon is Palace of the Dead, Heaven on High, Eureka Authors, and Pilgrim's Traverse. That Pilgrim's Traverse being added very recently. Palace of the Dead is basically a 200-floor, semi-randomly generated dungeon with a boss every with a boss and a sort of checkpoint every 10 floors. Heaven on High and Eureka Authors has changed this to 100 floors, and specifically in Palace of the Dead, you can start from floor 50 or 51 in certain contexts, not if you want to get the solo achievement. For Heaven on High and Eureka Authors, I believe you can start on floor 21. But specifically for Pilgrim's Traverse, as long as you're not doing the achievement for doing a full clear start to finish without wiping, you can technically start from a checkpoint on like floor 21, I think 41, and 71, and 51. Like there's a bunch of checkpoints on the way, making it a lot easier to progress if you're not aiming for like the full clear from start to finish. But that's what a deep dungeon is. What's that green gear? That is the most recent PvP series glam. I just remembered I hit series level 25 yesterday, and then I just grabbed it and was like, oh. It's, again, Lollipop Pizza, they specifically put Phoenix Downs on medicine vendors with this same patch. I'll say, hey, Siadra, hope you're doing well. I don't think I forgot anything, nope. If you would like to join me for Trials Roulette, come on over to me. How many are we? I think we're 9. You see how... Maybe I miscounted. Yes, we are exactly 9. Hey, Seraph. Hope you're doing well. Maybe it makes more sense to just make 2 smaller groups. With the amount of people we have here, we could make a 5 and a 6. Or we can also just be 8 if that's what we're doing. I'm not sure what people what people want, but I will try and invite the remainders here. We could... Actually, we could end up in a trial where 2 tanks are kinda necessary, but I was just about to say we could just have solo tanking it. Oh boy, that is rather cursed, guys.
Open your hearts to me.
Open your hearts to me. What trial requires 2 tanks? Kugane Ohashi is extremely hard without 2 tanks. Leviathan doesn't require 2 tanks. We actually, when we did the Leviathan Extreme with 3 players, we did it with 1 tank and 2 healers. For a normal or hard trial, what else would require 2 tanks? Yeah, Bismarck might pose a problem. It might be manageable by just like having everyone focused on one of the serpents really fast, and then just making sure that the tank only hits 1. Nidhogg Titania adds. Nidhogg adds you could just have 1 tank pick everything up on the normal difficulty. It's very manageable. For Titania, the ads might be pretty brutal, but you can, I believe you can solo. Well, actually, at least one of the ads will probably be swinging at whoever's nearest, I think, in the second phase. So there, it's just really scary.
I shall free you from your hate.
Use the button. The button. Boink. Hey, Bug Shark. Hope you're doing well. I just want to reiterate, when we're talking about what needs 2 tanks, we're talking about duties you can find in a trial roulette, and nearly all of them, in the context of trial roulette, they will not have the any tank switch required. But if it came to extremes, then we'd certainly have a much larger list. You know, there's something funny. I think one of the dancers have forgotten to use their close position. I'm not sure which one.
Your souls are stained.
Shadow says, is it an issue for dancers to dance partner each other?
I shall free
No,
you from your
it's a
hate.
common myth that standard finish doesn't stack between 2 dancers. Basically, the standard finish buff that dancers give has two versions that are visually indistinguishable. But the buff that the dancer gives itself is the giver buff, and the buff it gives someone else is the receiver buff. And they don't stack with each other. But logically, you wouldn't be able to have two giver buffs, because only the dancer itself can produce that on itself. But that means that if you have two dancers partnering each other... It's okay, Ceros, it was just funny. If you have two dancers partnering each other, standard finish on both of them will stack. But if you have two dancers partnering the same target, then only one receiver buff will appear, because it doesn't stack with itself. The bigger problem with multiple dancers is that Devilment and Technical Finish don't stack. Elder says the receiver of close position buff is stackable. No, it is not. The thing that is stackable, Gassel... Oh, the red one. Right, okay. Yeah, the closed position buff itself, yes, is stackable. That's correct. That might be a little bit misleading. The thing that is endlessly stackable from the standard finish is that when you standard finish, you and your partner receives two buffs: the damage bonus and the esprit buff. The esprit buff is stackable. It doesn't really do anything because it's basically like just a tag that you put on someone. What's all the colors on the names? That's a setting. I don't have any mods, Tenji. So if you see something on my stream in the game, then you should be able to do it too. Make sure to get the Liker buff. Nice, Haradel. Next up is normal raids, but as usually happens here is that it gets a little awkward to rearrange the group, because we have less, we will have some repeats, but we will be able to make two groups or more for the Alliance raid. But if there's anyone who doesn't mind switching out, then we can do something there. We can also just figure it out on the Alliance raid. Hey Zoma, hope you're doing well. I don't have any mods, Ardell and Zip, No, those are moderators. Yeah, it's fair, Tenchi. I don't use any mods at all. So, if you see that I can do something, then unless it's a skill issue, you should be able to as well. Nitiana, hope you're doing well. I didn't quite mean it like that, Sleepy Black. However, oh man. Can I go back to White Mage?
Are you ready to get down?
I changed my mind.
The Upstart's Cruiserweight campaign begins.
Can you keep up with the rhythm? We're just getting started. Keep grooving, baby.
Dancing Green is pulling out all the stops with these steps.
Me choosing Ast because I was expecting us to get a low level one again, and then it does this.
Everyone's a star.
You've betrayed me, Dancing Green. I thought we had an accord. And then it turned out that what we actually had was an accordion. A musical instrument.
Bask in the spotlight and
Hey Tiffany, hope you're doing well.
burn.
An invitation to dance. How will the challenger respond?
Yeah, it's the same thing as when I play Ninja. That's a good point, Red Master. Play a job I'm really good at, hoping for some high level duty or something. Get Sastasha. Pick a job I'm less good at. Ah, sounds like it's the time for an expert roulette.
Come on, show me your moves. You're up, dancers! Let's turn up the heat! Try to keep up now!
The fever's taken hold. Can the Upstart keep up with Dancing Green?
Dance like there's no tomorrow!
Hey!
Let's finish with style!
We did it!
You're burning up the dance floor, baby!
Baby!
Back to it, dancers!
Back to it, dancers!
Show us some electrifying moves! bask in the spotlight and burn, baby, burn!
Ooh, the center's getting lit up.
Oh no, that was too much for the challenger. They're back on their feet. Let's see if they can stay standing.
Dancers, take it away! Yeah, baby! I feel the fever coming on again!
The Knights reached a fever pitch. All eyes are on Dancing Green. It's all
Hey!
over. Until it's
Amazing, we only had 2 deaths with the cursed configuration. But yeah, as Sally put it, the raid tiers for Dawntrail is more like WWE battles for entertainment. But there's a story to it, and there's a little more to it than just that. It's very fun. I think I have wiped to Dancing Green, and I've also been close to many times, because he specifically, when his entourage, or frogtourage, does that thing where they draw like a square, if they overlap in the middle, and you're standing in the middle, then you will die if you don't move out. And the reason why that is so distinct is because basically all of his other mechanics, if you're at full HP, you can survive 1. But that's 2 overlapping, so you can't. What do you mean, Sleepy Blood? What game mode for the PvP? Nosrel says, I had a reason as Tasha's tank with a healer only cast Repose. I tried putting together some translate stuff to help, but they didn't interact at all. If they didn't interact at all, I'm suddenly very quickly thinking, was it a bot that was just configured really stupidly? Oh, hey Alex, hope you're doing well. There's a lot of messages all at once, so I missed you in the crowd. So what's the best PvP job? Depends on what you mean. For Crystalline Conflict, there's a lot of like rock, paper, scissors involved, that certain jobs will be better just based on what jobs are present and more popular. There are some that just generally perform really well. I don't know I don't know everything on that, so like that's really difficult. In Frontline, there are specific jobs that work well when the party is, like when your team is good. There are jobs that, but these jobs sometimes just don't function at all if your party is not good. I would say an example of that is Scholar. There are jobs that generally can do a lot even when your party is bad. I would list Ninja as an example on that one. They might not be able to do a huge amount, but they can do something when your party isn't bringing it. There's also certain jobs that if you have like just a pre-made of 4 players together, they're completely insane. And sometimes it gets really stupid. Like, for instance, 4 astrologians is actually a threat. 1 astrologian is like, it's a little annoying, but 4 astrologians working together is usually a threat. Just as an example. But there isn't something as distinct as what is the best PvP job, because it depends. Hey Billy, hope you're doing well. Right, we have some alliance raids to go, but before we do that, I will be right back. In the meantime, energy restored. Alright, I'm back. Right, how many want to come for alliance raids? Because we could make 2 smaller teams instead of just 1. No. Well, I guess that makes things easy. We just need to have only 1 tank and then we're ready to go. Regal Star says, isn't Blue Mage leveling like super fast and basically leeching off someone else anyways? The power leveling strategies don't necessarily require another player anymore. There's this strategy in Shadowbringers areas where you just basically enter combat with a mob just before it gets killed by another mob, and then you get all the XP. But you don't necessarily have to level like that. I have leveled my Blue Mage, quote-unquote, legit. As in, I haven't used any of these speed leveling strats ever, but usually I've been leveling Blue Mage early enough in a period where Blue Mage gets a new level bracket that, like, those strategies are like in their baby phase. And I'll have finished in that 1 day anyways. Tenji says I can join his tank. Are you here? As I was saying, we have 8, but if we have more than 8, we would have to make multiple groups. Yeah, on Louisoire. But yeah, if you are power leveling Blue Mage, then you basically only need level 80 gear at present. And there is the expectation that sometime in 7.5, Blue Mage and Beastmaster will get something. And Blue Mage will probably, possibly, be able to reach level 90. That's usually how it goes. I see Jacob already said that. Right, if you're not on EU, then you can't hop over. In that case, we'll go now. Go now! Never mind, there's a queue. It's okay, Tenji. And that's a good question, Red Master. I don't know, I am not sure. Because, just thinking about Blue Mage spells, I'm pretty sure that a Blue Mage would be able to solo Titania normal, unsynced. Which then leaves the question, can they solo Innocence? They probably can. Can they solo E12? Can they they might not actually be able to solo Ruby Weapon. But they can definitely solo some, like, max level stuff. Back when the max level was 70, Blue Mages quickly figured out that you can solo Tsukuyomi normal. Because players would rather do that and get the spell that way than, oh no, interacting with other human beings. Womp. And he says, I remember when data center travel was introduced, you could go to all servers. Nope, that has never been a thing. When data center travel can let you go to all servers in your region. That has always been a thing when they added it. But region-wide data center travel has never been a thing beyond everyone being able to visit OCE. Which is why when I'm doing like more talky streams, I will often just be on Materia. Because that one has that advantage that you can visit. But there's never been a time where NA could visit EU or vice versa. Because if there ever were, then people would have been furious that it had been taken away. Social interaction in my MMO? Ugh. Thank you, Aradol. But if you've always played on a specific region, then it might have felt like they always allowed you to play wherever you wanted, because you never wanted to go anywhere else. Caetsu, so if I want to try to stop by for the next daily hangout as an NA player, I would need to create an EU alt character? Yes. Essentially, yes. And it's not because I want to exclude anyone. Let me put it like this. On OCE, my latency is like 300 ms and makes the game very, very hard to enjoy. And it would also have the same effect for most EU players. So it would basically be like, yeah, we can all play, but it'll suck for a large portion of us. Where I think it's just a better overall experience for everyone to just go, well, at least the ones that can play will have a good experience. Which is why I do it this way. Back in Endwalker, for a large part of Endwalker, I did this series that I call MSQ Rewind Replay, but it's also just known as Small Kai streams, which was I have an alt, which is a Lalafell, which I only played on stream. And we did the MSQ on that character. And when we had completed the MSQ, we started leveling alts and doing side stories and such. Is there anyone frozen? I can't see any frozen players. Now I feel bad. I wasted my opportunity to help. But when they introduced, like, data center travel to OCE, I changed to just doing basically all of the small Kai streams on OZE, despite the worst connection, because it wasn't about that. It was about doing the story, and a lot of people enjoyed just, coming along. Essentially, it became a very talky stream. So it didn't matter that much. When is the next patch again? I believe it is 16th of December. And see, the key there, Red Master, is that that there is a given. Mock Tome events happen approximately a month before a new patch, and the Mock Tome event ends on the day where the patch drops. But usually it's just implied. Like they'll just the event lasts until the next patch, and then you'll be like, when is the next patch? And the Mock Tome event says, wouldn't you like to know? But they start approximately a month before, so when you see the Mock Tome event appear on Final Fantasy XIV under any circumstances, either something is up, or there's about a month until patch. Ugh. To the wall! Just face planted into the wall, yeah. I shouldn't have done it in that order. There's no need to do that. Yeah, yeah. Meow, meow. I believe what the clockwork thingies do, Regal Styles, if they last long enough, they will give the boss like either straight up invulnerability or a huge damage down. I believe Zarf would know better. The reason why the clockworks don't take any damage is because they basically maintain an invulnerability on themselves, and the only way to get rid of it is by running into their force field, which will stun you, but will make them no longer invulnerable. So you basically have to have one person just faceplant into them and then have another person kill them, or multiple kill them, I suppose. But I know Zarf has done this whole raid in essentially underpants, which was kind of what it required to make the mechanics difficult. Like, only classes, so no jobstones. A lot of players in the raid didn't even have any accessories equipped. Like, it was quite a lot that it took to really make it challenging. There's something to be said that a lot of the Crystal Tower raid bosses are a lot more involved than pretty much all Alliance raids afterwards. Redmaster says, when I first did this Alliance raid, I asked my friend what the mechanics were in there. I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter. It's not that's pretty accurate. Back in late Endwalker, I made a video, one of my Mythbuster videos, covering what happens if everyone tries to go in, like actually tries to go in the belly, on Cerberus. And I randomly included how that fight works in general in that video. And there were a few comments that basically boiled down to, I've played this game since this raid was current, and I don't know how the fight works. Which means that even in A Realm Reborn, when World of Darkness was new, there were parties strong enough a lot of the time that there were players that just were along for the ride. Which I find extremely funny. Uh-oh. Okay, Riano Keeves made it, guys. Thank you, Aerodel. A really funny thing about the Ammon fight is that when people get turned into frogs, you can use the fire breath to remove the ice cubes, but generally it's not advised to do it at all, because you need at least one ice cube or you might just wipe. And well, if the only way to like maximize your chances that that doesn't happen is by not freeing anyone. You will always re-ice someone right before the curtain call. That's true, but there will still be frogs on the field to freeze again. At least in my experience. Also, Mari, hope you're doing well. There's also that whole thing with quote-unquote Ammon Savage, which basically came about because a change in Dawntrail, and I was there myself. Well, I actually cleared quote-unquote Ammon Savage. That made it so that when you got cubed, it would just break and not cube. Like, it would just not work. which meant that you wouldn't get anyone to hide behind. And the reason why it became quote-unquote savage is because that meant that curtain call was a hardened rage. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, Rin. The reason why... I'm guessing the reason why there could still be players just not doing anything is because I assume that it was possible to get these tasks done with some players not participating. After all, if you really think about it, the ads can be handled by both A and C together. And you only need 2 players to help with the chains. And it's only really, like, clearly obvious that it's a little bit of a problem if people are not going in the belly. And this can often be resolved by, like, just a few extra players elsewhere helping. So it leads to this situation where it doesn't surprise me at all that some players were, like, completely clueless in actual A Realm Reborn. Because, well, if you landed in Alliance B, then maybe, like, no one noticed that you didn't go in. And then you help with the ads, hopefully. Regal Star says, is it even possible to outdamage Curtain Call? Yes. You absolutely can. Ammon starts casting Curtain Call at an HP percentage threshold, if I remember correctly. So the way that we did it, and keep in mind that this was 24 randos in Alliance Raid going, oh no, we landed in Circus Tower. Do we want to leave? Nah, let's try. Because at that point it was already well known that this was a problem. Like, it was Sunday, and it got hotfixed Monday. Is what we're talking. And I was playing Viper, and, like, you know, about half of the DPS in the raid were playing Viper. The other half was mostly Pictomancers. And the key problem here is that knowing that Ammon starts casting Curtain Call at a specific point means that the Pictomancers could, you know, like, ready up and then, like, burst past it. Like, you just generally hold your burst. You say that to a Viper, and the Vipers are like... at level 50. I have one speed setting, and it is full blast all the time. No other options. Hey Tim, hope you're doing well. So there wasn't really anything you could do as a Viper other than just blast. And what you would do is you would, of course, help with the ads. But the moment you started closing in on that essentially hardened rage timer, you just ignored the ads and just attacked Ammon until he died, or you died. The only other solution aside from that is rest cheesing. Because if you had someone die, rest them, and they took the rest at just the right time, they could skip, like, and survive the wipe. And if you did that to enough players, you could, you know, have, like, a zombie squad reappear after the hardened rage, quote-unquote hardened rage, and just have a tank and a healer or something, and they could probably rest everyone else gradually, and you could make it. But it was beatable, and we did. It took a few tries, but we did make it. Now, on that note, we only have Sand Oreo left. Is everyone in the party up for Sand Oreos? Sand Oreos. Hey, Agato Saga, hope you're doing well. And hey, Strike Lucky, hope you're doing well as well, and good luck! I don't know, Talima. I've been calling it Sand Oreos for quite a while. Oh, we're down a player. Anyone else want a Sand Oreos? We've lost a Rust. If you're also Strike Lucky, Tay, then it swapped your name back and forth. I can't tell. Enjoy your evening, Rust. Just for anyone that wants, I'll queue when it says 1930. Just in case it pops instantly or something. Also enjoy your evening, Mister. The funniest bit with 7.0 Pictomancer in low level is that if you checked like the media tour tooltips, already at 7.0's release they had recognized that there were some problems. Because in the media tour data, based on just the media tour stuff alone, I estimated that a Pictomancer could do over 3,000 potency worth of damage on Titan normal at level 34. Then it released, and I believe at that point it was closer to like 2.2k. And the way you did it was you would go Pom Muse, Swift Cast, Winged Motif, Winged Muse, Mark of the Ages. And they did 700 and 800 potency respectively. Oh, that sucks, Tay. Maybe next time. But before the official release, they just said, I believe it was 1,000 and 1,100. And then it turned out there was a trait that they had added. Making it a little more reasonable. And then nowadays, they've cut it down by like an extra 300. Like nowadays, Living Muse in low level for Pictomancer is so weak that it is technically a DPS loss to draw living, specifically Pom motif, mid-combat if it doesn't result in you getting a winged muse as well. Because Pom Muse is 400 potency and it takes 4 seconds to make. Fire in red at level 50 is 250 potency, meaning both are 100 potency per second invested. But arrow in green and water in blue is more than 100 potency per second invested. So you basically, at level 50 with Pictomancer, you kind of have to, if you want to be optimal in an extended fight, Lamau, A Realm Reborn, level 50 content, extended fights, am I right? You would need optimally to like, you know, do Pom Muse, do Winged Muse, and then like wait until you almost have 2 charges, and then you go bam again to not risk wasting your time. Yeah, the whole 4-minute Garuda fight. But it does come up in those cases, because it's like, it's every 80 seconds, essentially, that you would do it. So, just, like, I know it was like kind of memes, but a 4-minute fight would mean that you could do it exactly 3 times, but that's only assuming that the fight goes a little bit beyond 4 minutes. The background plot of the stream. Shaq being chased with a watering can. This is what happens when there's only one potat in the area. Oh, right. Nox says, tell them about the fact that the dragon in... Oh. Well, do we have an 8th for Sand Oreo again? We're losing, we're bleeding players. Anyone want to come? We have 2 players in the garden. I just saw that Tay got on in the link shell, but I think we'll do it like this. I'll announce when I queue again, Tay. I'll queue when it says 36. How big of a pole is needed for Astro to use divination on the pole instead of the boss in a dungeon? I'll get back to the dragon in a second. Technically, the moment the tank reaches their destination, if divination is ready, you use it. Like, optimally you do that, because if you just hold it until a bigger fish comes about, then you're going to have less divinations in total. That's basically the start and the end of that. Right, the dragon, the 5-headed dragon in World of Darkness. So apparently, and it was a little difficult because I didn't see it very much, but apparently the story goes that there is this mechanic on the boss where it'll put this like swirly, spirally marker on a random player. A moment later, that player will be targeted by a extremely large circle AoE with no telegraph that hits them and anyone in the vicinity and throws them into the air. It also does damage, I believe. But mainly it's really annoying because it effectively stuns you. But the story goes that the intended solution to that is that if you step into the ice, which is also on the floor, like overlapping with this, you will become an ice cube, and when this AoE hits, it'll do nothing because you're frozen to the floor. And then like the ice cube will end. And usually this AoE coincides with the ice floor disappearing while we're at it. However, I was told this, like, during the early days of Dawntrail, And I had footage of players getting frozen and still getting knocked up. But I also, since then, have acquired footage of players doing it and not getting knocked up, implying that it was a bug that took a while to get fixed because, as Nox says, it didn't really matter. Agutosaka, divination being used isn't about panic. Oh no, we need to kill the things fast to protect the tank. It's about killing things as fast as possible. So if the boss pulls, if the tank pulls very little, that's the tank's fault. And you just use divination. You just, like, when you reach your destination, I don't care what job you are, you're supposed to just go slam and just use everything you have. That's what you're supposed to do.
Chateau Doraghi? Is this meant to be Sandoria?
We got Tay! Hey! And Crusher as well! But yeah, essentially, while I can see the logic in being like, no, well, what's the point in, like, blasting everything if the fight is going to end really fast? If the fight is going to end so fast that you won't get full value out of your cooldowns, or rather, that you're not going to get very much value out of your cooldowns, then there can be a justification to not go full blast, Agutosaka. But in any duty where you have access to divination, you should not need pulls that are so frail that that would be the case. Which is why I'm like, no, you send it anyways. The only exception to that being that you might have a tank that is pulling, like, really small, in which case there could be maybe cases where, like, the things that got pulled are very weak, so it doesn't really do very much. But a small pull does not mean that you don't need to send everything. Like, in general. Because there's also, like, the argument of, well, what if they only pull, like, 1 to 2 packs, and you know for certain there's 0% chance the tank ever dies to that pull. So every Dawntrail AoE pull, almost, if your tank is a warrior? You know what I mean?
By the gods, it's Kirin.
You, who have risen above your mortal status. I am Kirin. This surging power I bring to bear!
Now this thing about bears again.
This is no power I've seen before, but I won't be daunted.
It's the bear power. He brings 2 bear. Exactly 2 wobbling. It looks like YouTube is doing some weird stuff.
A comrade is in trouble. Someone heal them.
With the names.
Oh, guardians divine, lend me now your might. Oh, Suzaku, conjure your infernal flames!
The divine beasts. Have care.
I'm very scared.
Will you overcome my trial?
Flat.
You shall reap the rewards for daring to contend with the gods.
Daring to contend. Oh. He dare! they're spreading. The lily bells. Hey Medusa, hope you're doing well.
Know your place. I must thank you, mortals.
I contended with gods for pretty much 80% of this game and nothing happened. You know, that is an excellent point. It's basically the gold standard of a Final Fantasy game. If you don't contend with some gods, is it even a Final Fantasy game? Know your place. Where's that? It's over there. I marked it on the ground. I put a box there. Some of your cats, I think. As I put a rock over there. Some of your lizards, I think. As I put like a lamp on the rock. Again, some of your lizards. And hey, some of your cats, you'd like it as well, I'm sure.
Ultima and Omega are on a rampage. Who unleashed them?
Didn't you read the seating chart? It was in the memo. And we queued directly into this, Akasosako. We already did the Alliance raid. Oh. Kaboom! Blam!
I'm glad you're safe. Come, let's keep moving.
You should have like Kieran as like a doorman.
I do not see an easy way back.
For like a party. Like at the door, he's like, no, do you know your place? Do you know your place? Nope. Let me show you to your place. Whoops. Wouldn't you be on the rock? Yeah, exactly. Precisely. Know your place. He just points to a rock. Beep beep. Beep beep. Why did they bring back another ship for us to fall off of? That is actually a really good question, and I don't have an answer for you. It's really random that they have you do it twice, isn't it? Whee. We did it! Hey, Nox. Perfect time for an intro, don't you agree? Oh, man. And that's the worst about starting some sort of burst in a fight where, like, you know that the boss will leave at some point. Like, is it now? Can I do the thing? And when you finally commit, the boss is like, well, I'm doing it now, actually. Right now. Oh boy. The longest path possible. Whew. Never punished.
An impressive show.
Thank you.
Hurry now. Do not keep me waiting.
Why don't you come to me? I put up my arena here. What do you mean you have one with ley lines all over the place? He wants to show you his crystal collection. Fair. He might also just straight up be aware that we kind of need to come to him for other reasons. So he's just impatient. Like, I know this is inevitable. You have to come over here. Can you hurry it up, maybe? I have plans. I should have done... Uh-oh. Ow. I should have done that earlier so I didn't have to waste any of my ley lines doing it, but has to be me. I'm the mage.
You shall find me at the summit.
It would be really funny if it just wasn't there. You'll find me at the summit. Just kidding. Did you really think I was gonna admit that? I left. Why fight? Why bother? Idiot. You fell for it too. It's just an empty room.
Come then. Show me what your kind can do.
I can cast Fire 4? Yeah, no, I meant the other summit.
Oh, sublime Estok! Drink deep of the elements.
Drinku! You know, I didn't actually check what elements, so I'm just trusting the raid to know. Ice. Water.
Once more, shall we? Kneel!
Kneel! And then he shoves you. It's gonna be really hard to kneel when he does that.
You are naught but insects to be crushed. Pew. Accept your fate. Kneel before Zilatian wisdom and die!
Kneel before Saladian wisdom or something. Zilatian wisdom. It sounds like salad. Just me? Kneel before Zilatian wisdom. Kneel before Saladian wisdom. Salad wisdom sounds crunchy. And who's Neil?
I am the will of the crystal. That you should still stand. Very well then.
Very well then.
Careful now. The face of war is ever changing.
Show me your war face. Better be changing.
Tremble!
Tremble! I made clones of myself. Are you scared?
Disappear.
Kneel!
Kneel! Uh-oh. I sure hope there's a knockback immunity going out there. Otherwise... Oh, I guess that works, yeah. Kneel!
Oh, sublime Estoc! Drink deep of the elements!
Wind! Lightning! Fire! Wind, lightning, fire. Amazing, no one died. No one died to the half-room cleave overlapping with a stack marker.
Why? I am the will.
I think that's a first.
How could I be defeated
At least for me.
by mere mortals?
Farewell, my little brother. Return to the crystal from which you were born. As for the rest of you, I invite you to the Gate of the Gods.
Thanks. You know, it's funny. I feel like we have seen other gates of gods. It's a little,
You have the privilege of
and I would almost say narcissistic of you to say that it is the gates of the gods. Or the gate of the gods. I'm pretty sure we've seen other gates owned by gods. And the very scary thing with that, Mia, is that sometimes what'll happen is that you think that the person who is actually leading the charge somewhere paid attention, but they just guessed. Hey, Uber Penguin. Hope you're doing well. Gate of the Discord. Nice.
This world shall belong to the Zealot.
To the salad.
Can you escape this, I wonder?
Be gone!
Can you escape that? Can you escape this?
Round and round they go.
In a strange way, this music reminds me of RuneScape.
javelin pierces all.
Yeah, I think that might be it, Sally.
Allow me to show you a trick I've learned.
Which is really funny to think about, if true. Like, I'm thinking a,
Have you the
like
strength
a,
to find the
is it
answers
Final
you seek?
Fantasy XI or old school RuneScape quiz?
This is not Varna deal. I'm well aware of that.
Good for you. Can you dodge this, I wonder?
I also understand the true nature of my existence. So come, let us finish this. I will eliminate you and make this world ours.
You'll probably need a little bit more than just eliminating the Warrior of Light to do that, but
Time for games
go for it,
is
man.
over. Behold my true power! I shall forge a more fitting stage for our battle. All pales before our brilliance.
Super Penguin says, what is a sound font? Personally, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it comes down to like what kind of sound tools you
Perhaps
have
some magic in the mix.
at your disposal. And this was probably more impactful, you know, back in the day, when the options you had for game making were maybe a little more limited. But I will admit that I don't know full well myself.
But it's time to say goodbye.
Ow. You know what? I completely goofed that. Let me try that one again.
My javelin pierces all.
My javelin pierces all. Huh?
Even in this false flesh, I will not lose to you.
Bad news, buddy. Even in this false flesh, I will not lose to that. Hey, Miko. Hope you're doing well. Look, Tenchi's here. Zagus says, really, who will stop the bad guys if we're gone and we're not the strongest in the world lore-wise? If we fail, no other can stop the evil. That's complicated because a lot of the time we're, you know, building up to defeat some foe. So ultimately, if we weren't there, it's likely someone else would step up to the plate. But there is probably something to be said that story-wise, it wouldn't surprise me if there's a lot of parts in the world of Final Fantasy XIV that are like kinda slacking a little bit because we'll figure it out. But yeah, true, there will be Godbert. He'll like, if we fail, he's probably the backup. He's ready. And you know what he can do. Mr. Zelatian Wisdom there comes in and then he just gets body slammed. By Mr. Mandeville himself. But once again... hey Tab, hope you're doing well. It says, isn't the everyone is slacking because we're here thing addressed directly after Endwalker? Fair point. In Dawntrail we have that instance where everyone comes, like, joins the battle. That is true. And that is like that is an indication of what would probably happen if we failed. A lot of those would probably step in. But I guess a more accurate way to say some are slacking is that a lot of the things that all these people can do are just not necessary because we're here. Like, why mobilize an army when you can just send Steve? And he'll figure it out. It's a lot easier to mobilize Steve, admittedly. Yeah, we managed to get it done once again. I've actually capped on weekly tombstones, so I'm ready for the next patch to drop. I ran out of things that I wanted to buy, I think. The big cap. Oh, let me explain that one, Agatosaka. I'm guessing you may not have experienced a new raid tier drop. So, when a new raid tier drops, the way that it works is nothing happens to Poetics, first of all. They're basically old school tombstones forever. They actually used to be the weekly tombstone in like patch 2.5, I think. And then they just became this. What's going to happen is that these heliometry tombstones will go down here and replace and be the discontinued one. Mathematics will go up and become the endlessly farmable ones. And then a new tombstone will appear. Tombstone of, I don't know, physics. And they will have this limitation. And they will be used to buy the same kind of things in the next raid tier. Mnemonics. And what you will be able to do with the discontinued tombstone is that you will be able to trade them in for mathematics tombstones. I believe it's like 4 heliometry for 1 mathematics. So if you have a full maxed out heliometry, you would be able to buy 500 mathematics. And anything that is used that cost heliometry before will cost mathematics instead. Some items may have dropped in price, notably the heliometry purchased crafting materials will probably, the ones that are already there will see their price reduced, and then a new set of those kind of materials will come in, costing 20 mathematics. But there will be a weekly capped tombstone. There'll just be a different one. But a motivation to go into a new patch with maxed out of the previous patch is that in the first week or so of a patch, the crafting materials are usually very valuable, which means that if you have nothing better to spend them on and you're not a crafter, you can just buy some of those and like make a lot of money. At Glam and Mounts of Poetics for people who ran out of stuff to buy. Let me put it like this. There are so many things you can buy with Poetics already that if you ran out of things to buy with Poetics, then there exist items that you can buy with Poetics and sell on the market board. If you bought everything that is available to you with Poetics, then it is probably fair that you don't need anything else, because Poetics are primarily used for that kind of stuff anyway. Hey my ghoul, hope you're doing well. Says I started 14 on the Omega world this morning and they got an XP buff. I made a character there and I didn't get this buff. Am I doing anything wrong? The XP buff you get is by joining a recommended world. If your friends started on it and received an XP bonus, which is the road to 90, then they joined that world when it was the recommended world. If you missed that opportunity, then you would have had to wait until it becomes recommended again to do that. Or you will have to join whatever world is recommended. You're not doing anything wrong. You just missed a window, which is unfortunate. It's all I can say. Jose, Angela, hope you're doing well. Also that, if you have bought everything, every unique item there is to be had from for Poetics, then like you have played long enough that it is justified that there's nothing left for you to buy. I believe all of the Heavensward relics, each of them can easily round you up over 20,000 Poetics. Each. That's over 10 of them. But if you're not interested in those, then, like, what do you do? If they added mounts available for Poetics, I wouldn't be against it. But if you already... like, if you run out of stuff to get with Poetics, then you can buy... I believe it's the unidentified ore, or unidentifiable ore, or something like that. You can trade for Thanalan soil, or something like that. And you can sell those on the market board. And if you sell those on the market board, that means that Poetics have a guild value. Back in the day, you could buy demi-materia or something like that, which was worth like 500 gil each, but they nerfed that to like 25 because it was a little bit harsh on gil inflation. Jose Tezan, hope you're doing well. Says, what if you've done if you're done with all relics? Then you have done the equivalent of finishing your plate. In which case, Thanalan soil, I guess. Like, I'm also on a sort of relic grind. Check this out. This is for relics. This is for relics. This is for relics. These are for relics. I have like a spreadsheet. I'm just buying everything gradually. And one day I'll have everything I need to make all of the remaining relics. So every time I'm like, I have a bunch of poetics, I just buy a bunch of umbrite. Call it a day. Easy peasy. It's actually a similar problem with PvP that some people are like, there's nothing you can buy that is useful for wolf marks. But part of the problem there is that there is like a whole list of glam you can buy. But if you don't care about it, then it doesn't exist for you. There's a whole bunch of cosmetics, emotes, music, various things. But if you reach level 25 in the series level, in a single series, like a 4-month period, then you probably have bought most of it. Which means that the only thing left is like there's this manual you can buy that makes food buffs last 50% longer. Or you can buy dark matter for repairing, but if you don't have crafters leveled. Or you can buy ventures, but if you have, I don't know, like 45,000 of them and you don't like spam your retainers, then do you care? So you can quickly run into the situation where there's nothing left to get. My shroud topsoil is top of the line. What do ventures even do? Ventures are specifically used to pay your retainers for doing ventures. Which means I believe it costs 2 to send them on an 18-hour venture, or 1 to send them on a single-hour venture. And we send them on the random ones, I believe those cost 2 as well, and they take 1 hour. So they only do one thing, and you either spend them at the very glacial pace of about 4 a day, or if you go crazy with it, you could hypothetically spend something in the ballpark of 48 a day. Actually, like 100 a day. If you go super spam, but then you're not sleeping, and then we have different worries to address. And also true, Nieto, is if all else fails, what you can do is teleport to somewhere like Old Charlian. There's a blue pouch vendor, you know, those that sell poetics gear, and just go to the accessories section and just buy the whole thing. Just buy all of it, and then go to your Grand Company, and then just hand it all in for Grand Company seals. And then you can turn those Grand Company seals into something else. So that is also a way to turn your poetics into money. Money laundering in 14. It's certainly some sort of currency conversion. The Stormblood Alliance raids are the Ivalice ones. If you're missing... the one you're missing is the Near Raid series from Shadowbringers, Caitlin. Near Raids. Yoha. Dark Apocalypse. Why isn't it there? Are you sure you finished? Once you've cleared all 3 Alliance raids in the Near Raid series, there will be a daily quest in the little dwarf village nearby, and eventually that one will finish. But it takes like a week, I think. I believe it's a daily. But come to think of it, it might be a weekly. Last time I did it was on Small Kai, and there I only did 1 a week. Anyway, I think that'll be it for tonight. So, doink, 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 doink. Let me just find it real quick while I remember. This village, Caitlin, this one, Komra. This one you're looking for. There will be a quest somewhere here. Now, if you would like to be part of the Discord community server, there's a link right there in the chat. You will also find in that server, you will also find the weekly schedule where you can see what else is coming up in the coming days. I usually update it Sunday or Monday. You'll also find the announcement room with links to videos and streams when I put them out. And if you grab the reminder roll in the role assignments room, you'll get a notification whenever I post a video or stream. As well as an extra one around 15 minutes before stream starts, so you can catch it right when we go live. And if you'd like to support the channel even more directly, you can like, follow, subscribe, become a member, super chat, cheers, all that goodness. And if you like don't like any of that, there's also a Ko-Fi link in the description or on the channel page. It all helps support me and the channel, the Ko-Fi page, sorry. And it all helps support me and the channel directly, so I can focus on doing stuff like this with all of you. So thank you so much for the support. But that'll be it from me tonight. So good night, good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are in the world, and I hope to see you all very soon. Bye bye!